Today we're going to take a look at the best traditional knives to EDC in 2025. These aren't necessarily ones that I bought in 2025, but as of this year, these are my favorite knives to get work done. These are the knives that I carry. These are the knives that I EDC. So let's take a closer look. I have these knives divided up in 10 different categories. We're going to take a look at each of these categories and see what makes them an excellent EDC knife. And like I said, these are working knives. These aren't necessarily my favorite knives of all time, but these are the ones that I choose to get work done. Let's start with the trappers. I have a Baron Son and a case here as two examples, and these are two knives that I have carried quite a bit. First, let's start with the Baron Son trapper. This one has yellow Delrin covers, which is really nice because it's high visibility. When you set this knife down, it's easy to find, it's easy to spot, even in dim light. You have your standard clip point blade. I modified this bay blade to be more of a ram's foot style blade. This is an excellent utility blade. This knife also is in carbon steel. This is a great knife to get work done. This type of a blade, anytime you have a point down here, it's more like a utility knife, and there's a lot of value in this every day. So I like a blade with some belly and then a utility style blade. That just helps me get work done every day. Next is a case. This would be classified as an improved trapper because not only does it have your standard clip point blade, but you also have a really nice Warren Cliff style blade. Again, this is an excellent blade for getting work done. What's nice about this blade is it comes down really thin, so you can get up underneath stuff. Both of these are excellent EDC knives. Next, we're going to take a look at a couple of Stockman, one of the best knives ever made, one of the most useful and the most flexible with their 3 blades. I have 2 different sizes here that we're going to take a look at. First, let's look at this Rough Rider. This is also in yellow Delrin, just like the Baron Son trapper, but this one I added scallops on. And what the scallops do is they give you some extra traction, which is really nice, especially if it's cold or if your hands are a little slippery, it's a little damp. Now in here you have your standard clip point blade. You can see this one has a nice amount of patina on it. This has been used quite a bit for food. So here's your standard 3 blades, your clip point blade with a little bit of belly, your utility blade, and then just a general purpose blade. So excellent knife. Now this is the same size as a case 75 pattern Stockman, which I do have a couple of examples of over here, which I also really like these knives a lot. This one is in stainless steel. It's in cases True Sharp, and this is a great summer carry or wet weather knife. This one, just like the Rough Rider, is in carbon steel. This one started out as an amber peach seed jig bone, and I dyed it because I really like, they have a mahogany line, and I really like that line a lot, but they never came out with a Stockman in it. So I took the amber peach seed jig bone and I dyed it to match the mahogany line. So now I have a case 75 pattern Stockman in their mahogany line, carbon steel. Again, you can see the patina on that blade. And your sheep's foot and spay blades. This one is the same, so I'm not going to take the blades out on it. Just 2 more wonderful knives. The large size is great in the hand. It fills the hand up. You can get a good grip on it. The other size that I like are the Stockmans that I would put in a 4-inch class. They're both your 3 7/8 and 4-inch class Stockmans. These are great knives when you don't expect to have to do a lot of heavy work. They're just excellent. They're a little smaller. They're half the weight. Just beautiful knives. You still get full-size blades. They're not, when you go to a medium Stockman, the blades get really skinny and there just doesn't seem to be that much meat to them. To me, the knives almost seem like they come pre-worn out. Where these, you get a lot of steel on your blades. This one is an old Soligen Germany Boker. Now, along with this older Boker, I'll also carry one of these newer Bokers. This Just like this case in True Sharp, this one is in stainless, and this is a great, warmer weather when you get hot and sweaty or wet. So this is just another excellent utility knife. Now, if you're planning on doing heavy work during the day, then go for one of the larger ones. But for general purpose, this size is perfect. Very capable. Nice snap on that one too. Another knife that I really like is this one here. It's in the same size class. It's a little bit different. It's got slanted bolsters, and they're squared off a little bit instead of being rounded like this other Boker. This is a Boker USA. This knife also probably dates back to somewhere around the 1970s. This is another excellent knife. I really like this one a lot. This has Delrin covers. They're jig Delrin, and when Delrin is done right, it's beautiful stuff. It rivals bone in its beauty, and it's also extremely durable. If you drop this knife, you're not going to crack it like you will a knife that has bone covers on it. So just another excellent example of a great utility knife that you can carry. Here are three more great Stockman in the 4-inch class. This one was an exclusive from Tractor Supply. It's an excellent knife. This is in cases True Sharp. I don't need to open these all up. I've already showed you some of them, and you guys know what they are. This one is made by Buck. It's a 301. And this is an old USA-made Schrade old-timer knife. What's different about this one is it has a serrated sheep's foot blade. Let's move on to the next category. This is going to be slimline trappers. These are a little bit slimmer. They're more slender, a little smaller than the full-size trapper, but they're excellent knives. I think of these just like I do the 4-inch Stockman. These are great knives to carry when you don't expect to have heavy work to do. When you have a lot of work to do, you carry the full-size model. This slimline trapper is an old USA-made old-timer. It has a liner lock and a single carbon steel clip point blade. This one was a gift from Jersey Knife Guy. Now, Pete has been a very generous friend, and he has done a lot for the knife community, and he has given away a lot of knives to people. In addition to that, we also have this GEC. This is carbon steel. This is 1095. And this would also be an improved trapper. Not only is it a slimline, you can see here the size difference between the slimline and the regular trapper. It's a little bit shorter. It's not as tall. So you get a little bit lighter weight and a little bit easier carry, especially in a lighter weight pants. They could be, dress pants or just lighter weight for summer carry. You've got a clip point blade and then a really nice Warren Cliff. That comes down so pointy. It's just an excellent utility blade. And it's really nice having two full-length blades. I go back and forth on whether I like two full-length blades, or when you go with the Stockman, you have 3 blades. You have 1 full-length blade and 2 shorter blades. Most of the time, I lean towards the 2 full-length blades. So just 2 excellent knives that are very easy to carry. The next category is going to be a couple of GEC knives. This is the 88 series. These are 2-bladed knives. So they're similar to a trapper in a way, but they're a sow belly. They really fit the hand well. They're ergonomic, and they're just excellent knives, really good utility knives. Let's start with the knife that I'm carrying today. This 88, you have a clip point. You can see the patina on that. These are all 1095 carbon steel. And the secondary blade is a lamb's foot. Now, all 3 of these are the same knife, just different cover materials. This one is in desert ironwood. And this is the newest one. This is, I believe this was a Brazilian cherry. Just a beautiful knife. You've got the beaver shield in there, which is something that's unique. I've never seen a shield quite like that before with this much detail. It's just a really, really nice piece. You see this one is still brand new. It still has the oil on the blades. I haven't even cleaned this one up yet. So I really like these knives. They have a lot of utility. You've got your utility blade for any of your utility cuts. Like a clip point, you have to stand straight up in the air if you're going to get that point in something and cut it, which that puts you in a really funny position for leverage, and the knife isn't in the position where you can have that much control over it. When you have the knife down on an angle, you have much more control and can have much more precision and put more pressure on the cut safely. So I really like this style blade, whether it's a sheep's foot, a lamb's foot, a ram's foot. It's a great addition to a clip point blade. It's nice to have a blade that has some belly in it, and then also a utility blade. Having both styles of blades lets you get just about any type of work done. Keeping in the theme of two-bladed work knives, next we're going to take a look at two knives that are in the cigar type pattern. This one is a GEC, and as you can see, you have that really nice Warren Cliff style blade. This is a 53 pattern knife, one of 50. So there weren't that many of these made. This is one of the older GECs. In addition, you also have a really nice clip point blade. The cigar shape fits in the hand very neutrally. For example, this is my bushcraft knife. This is a knife that I made. It's out of A2 tool steel, desert ironwood scales, and this is a broomstick style. You also have a hidden lanyard, so your lanyard can come out the back. I hate when you have to put a lanyard through a hole. But the broomstick style, it's different. When you take a sow belly, the idea of a sow belly is it fits the curve in your hand and it just nestles in there perfectly. A broomstick, on the other hand, your hand conforms to that shape, just that plain shape. And God has designed our hands to be wonderful tools, and they are able to conform to just about anything you want to hold. This offers a neutral grip, which is great for bushcraft work because you don't always hold a knife like this. You can hold it this way in the pinch grip, this way. You can come up on it. You can hold it backwards. You can have it in a chest lever grip. So this knife needs to be gripped in many different ways, and that broomstick handle provides a very uniform, universal, comfortable fit for any type of hand position. So a knife like this sow belly is very comfortable in a standard hammer grip, but when you reverse the grip, it's a little bit odd. It's not quite as comfortable. When you have the cigar pattern, this has a lot in common with that bushcraft knife, because not only is it great in your standard hammer grip, you can reverse the grip. You can have all different style grips on this knife to do any type of a task, and it's comfortable and it works any way you want to hold it. This is a Rosecraft in D2, Neller cigar shape pattern. I did scallop these covers on it for extra grip. It used to look more like this knife, where you have smooth covers. Of course, this one is in brown instead of black. So you have two blades on here. You've got a clip point and then a lamb's foot. Both excellent blades. You can get a lot of work done with this. This D2 holds a phenomenal edge. I also haven't had any problems with any type of rust or corrosion on D2. So I can get away with carrying this one in the summer and in warmer weather. And that lamb's foot, just a great blade. So both of these knives will allow you to get a lot of work done. The next category is going to be locking knives. You could think of knives like the Buck 110 and the Buck 112. To me, the 112 is just a little bit too small. The curved grip kind of traps your hand and squeezes your fingers together. It's just slightly too small. The Buck 110 is a little bit larger than necessary and definitely a little bit heavier than necessary. I think this GEC lockback is the perfect in between. This would fit size-wise in between the buck 110 and 112. It's slender, it's lightweight, it's beautiful, has great lockup, 1095 steel with a really nice clip point blade. So this is my only, I'm going to put this in a traditional class that has a lockback. Now, if it was a mid-lock, I wouldn't put it in a traditional class because that was a newer development. But these lockbacks have been around for many, many years. They're very old, so I will count this as a traditional class knife. And this one is just perfect when you need a locking knife. When things that you're going to be doing, you may have a little bit of pressure this way on the blade. I still use the kick, and I'll put my finger there, because if you use that kick, that blade can't get you. So if you look at one thing that's in common with all these knives I'm showing you today, they all have a decent kick on them, which will prevent any type of injury. So GEC just puts together such a great knife. The shield is in there. Everything is done perfectly. Their grinds are good. Just excellent knives. So this one, depending on what you're doing, will just provide a little measure of safety with that locking blade. The next category of knife we're going to look at are English barlows. It started probably about a year and a half ago when Jersey Knife Guy sent me a Taylor's Eyewitness, and that started my love for some of these English barlows. So we're going to take a look at a couple of them today. These knives are slender, they're lightweight, they're all made out of C70 carbon steel. They're just excellent carries, and what I normally do is I carry a modern knife. Today it's a Spyderco Manix 2 lightweight in 15V. So I carry a modern knife in my right front pocket. Then in my left pocket, it's usually the magazine pocket in my pants, I'll carry a traditional knife in a leather slip. That way I have both. And what I like to do is carry complementary blade styles. Just like those 2 and 3 bladed knives, you have different types of blades. When I carry a modern knife, for example, this has a little bit of belly to it, but the spear point is a little bit more universal. So if I carry a knife with some belly to it, I'm going to carry a traditional knife such as this one. This is an Arthur Wright with a lamb's foot blade, and I really enjoy this knife a lot. These covers are supposed to be a whiskey barrel, so now you have a unique cover material, something that was old, something that would have just been thrown away, but it makes beautiful covers for a knife. These are just put together really nice. Now, they're not perfect. These knives are about $35, $40. They're not a lot of money. So you may get one where the blade centering may not be perfect, but they have a really nice pull on them. They have a very strong pull. You can see the blade centering isn't perfect on this one, but that doesn't matter. You're not paying a lot of money for these knives. They are very strong. They will last a lifetime. They are very well built. Just excellent knives. This is a knife that was sent to me by Jersey Knife Guy, and I really like this knife a lot. This one has half stops. Just listen to the acoustics on this. All right, put it up by the microphone. You've got a nice belly. You have a downward canted blade, which aids in cutting performance. Just an excellent knife. These are well built, and they're just beautiful. Again, they're about $35. It's really hard to go wrong with a knife like this. It's less than half of what you would buy a case for, and these will last a lifetime. Very solid, very well built. This is another Arthur Wright. Blade centering on this one is perfect. Again, very strong pull. Listen to that snap. I love a knife that has a strong pull because that knife is not going to close on you. It's a very safe knife. Plus, it has a big kick that you can get your finger on. And even if you did manage to get it to close some, your finger stops it against that kick and you're not going to get cut. So these knives are very safe to use. And like I said, I have really come to enjoy these. They're slender, they're well built, they're handmade, and they're just beautiful knives. The final 2 categories that we're going to look at categories 9 and 10 are what I would classify as modern traditional knives. So they're traditional knives, but they're built using modern steels, modern cover materials, and modern frames. I've really come to like these knives. It depends on what I'm doing. I am an IT guy, and when we get in a lot of new equipment, it means I have a lot of cardboard to deal with. And going with a modern traditional on those days gets me into a steel that's going to hold an edge and is going to be able to deal with all the stuff that I have to cut. So we have two different categories here. These knives here are the same size as the English barlows, where these are large modern knives. These are by C. Reisner. You can see just how big this knife is. Let me get a K75 Stockman out so you can see the size comparison. The handle's quite a bit bigger. You have a lot more cutting edge, taller blades. It's just overall a lot more knife. These are hollow ground. They come down nice and thin behind the edge. M390 blades, titanium frame, carbon fiber covers, and just gorgeous. I made some large leather slips to carry these knives in. So when I have a lot of work to do, heavier work, with more serious cutting, a lot of repetitious cutting, especially of materials that are rough on an edge, these are my go-to knives. And we also have the same knife, but in a clip point. So it depends on what you're doing, which blade style you choose, and also what modern knife I have on me for the day. Next, we're going to move into some Jack Wolf knives. These are all in S90V, titanium frames with carbon fiber covers. These are thin, lightweight, and just a pleasure to carry. I'm not sure if you want to call this a sheep's foot or a Wharncliffe. It's rolled down like a Wharncliffe, but it's a little more gradual, more like a sheep's foot. Just a great utility knife. And I love these covers. You can see how they glisten in the light. If you take this thing out in the sunlight, it's just absolutely stunning. Next, we have one with a ram's foot blade. Now, it's a little different than the lamb's foot. Let me get a lamb's foot out. This is a lamb's foot blade. You can see on the tip here, it's not as tall as it is at the base. The ram's foot is taller out by the tip than it is by the base. So that's the difference between the two. Both are great knives. The lamb's foot gets in tighter spots a little bit easier, but the ram's foot, I can see over time, as you sharpen it, you have more life because it's wider out here at the tip. So you have more sharpening life out of that blade, keeping this point and this edge straight here. Although on this knife, S90V, it holds an edge for so long, it's not an issue. You just drop this thing up every once in a while, once a month, and you don't have to put this on stones. You can do serious cutting with this thing, and you very rarely have to go back to a diamond stone with this thing. Again, you have a kick. Jack Wolf has a really nice spring on them. Great half stop. Really nice acoustics. Watch how that blade jumps when it hits the half stop. Just really nice to use. This one is a clip point. Same thing, carbon fiber covers, S90V blade. Beautiful clip. I love how they ground this one, how they did this. And our final Jack Wolf is a spear point. Now, a spear point is somewhat unique. It's a little bit different. You have knives like this with belly, which I said I like to carry a knife with belly, and then also a utility style knife like either one of these. See, here's the clip point, and in order to get that tip into something, you have to stand this knife practically straight up in the air. Where with a utility style, lamb's foot, ram's foot, sheep's foot, you can have that knife at a very low angle for more control and more pressure safely. Now a spear point, you have belly, but you can also get that point without having to raise the knife too much. This is on a 45-degree angle, so I do have to raise the knife more than I do with either of these, but nothing like with this. So you have the belly, and then you also have a lot of utility value. So if you're going to carry a knife that only has one type of blade, a spear point is a really good choice because it's a very universal blade that you can do many kinds of work with pretty easily. It's very adaptable. It's a great all-purpose, I look at it as a general purpose blade shape. And that is one of the things that I really like about this Spyderco Manix 2 is you have some belly and you have that spear point blade. And this is the same thing. You can get into stuff without having to stand that knife straight up. And you also have that little bit of belly for doing some other work, you know, or if you want to cut food up and stuff. So just excellent all around universal blade styles. That's my 10 categories of traditional knives that I really like to EDC. These are knives that help me to get work done. Whatever type of cutting task I have, I'll have the right blade style on me. I'll either have a multi-bladed knife or I'll have a traditional and a modern knife with complementary blade styles so that I am prepared for just about any task that I come across. That's going to be it for this video. We'll see you next time.